What's up, guys? Here with this week's Q&A. I'll remind myself not to post smoked oysters again, as this one didn't get quite the amount of questions they typically get, but that's fine because this was a shorter video anyway. So, tips for adding cardio to a lifting routine. Honestly, I would just start with adding like 20 minutes of low intensity, steady state cardio. Um, if you're crunched for time, you can add it after your training if you're at the gym, or it would be better to separate it somewhere else. Like I go first thing in the morning, after I get ready to go to work and stuff, I do 30 minutes on the elliptical machine, just knocks it out, and that's an easy way to get it there. Um, there's a bunch of ways to do it, but I would start with that and then build off of that as you see fit. How much volume, intensity, and frequency to maintain strength at a lift while you focus on other lifts? So to maintain a base level of strength, you're not really going to need a whole lot, just some touches every now and then. If you're talking about like maintaining a peak strength, like you peaked into a 1 rep max of whatever the weight is, that's certainly going to take a lot more effort and a lot more heavier touches to stay at that. But just to maintain like a base level of strength, not as much of any of those things as you need, in my opinion. Doing something as little as once a week for some moderate volume and moderate intensity is more or less going to maintain what you already have. Will I ever do a workout with Renaissance periodization? Funny story there. I don't quite have the name recognition to get on there with Dr. Mike, though I do have connections. One of my friends, Dr. Derek Wilcox, works for Renaissance periodization. I've had him on my channel numerous times before, former training partner. So I've got an in there, but yeah, I don't think I quite fit in just yet in terms of name recognition or the way I train to be invited there. So is it possible to develop decent strength and size while doing only the big 5 compound movements once a week, or is it too minimalist? So he specified like a 2-day-a-week type split and just hitting these big 5 movements, in a certain setup those 2 days. Yes, to develop decent strength and size with only the big 5, absolutely possible. I guess there is a point where something could be too minimalist, but again, we're not saying world class. We're not saying the best you could possibly be. We're saying decent strength and size. And if you're only doing it 2 days a week, the thing is you've really got to go balls out on each of those days and not leave anything in the tank. But you can certainly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, develop decent strength and size with a minimal program like that. And if somebody tells you otherwise, they're wrong. They're objectively wrong. How important is frequency compared to volume when it comes to putting on size and strength? I'm going to take a stab here and say volume is probably a little more important. Like getting more overall volume is going to be better. The frequency, to a degree, matters, but not quite as much as volume. And of course, approximation to failure and or going beyond failure is going to be your real kicker there. But if it's one or the other, volume is probably going to play a bigger role. Strength, you could say frequency might matter more. Getting those neurological gains and the skill that's involved in strength. But putting on size is definitely going to be a volume thing. And the way you termed it, size and strength, I'm also going to err on the side of volume there for sure. How would you optimally design a road to 300 bench program in terms of frequency, volume, sets, reps, ranges, accessory, common pitfalls, common injuries? So I'm not the biggest fan of arbitrary numbers, but that said, like a road to 300 for most healthy young men, getting to a 300-pound bench press is just going to be a matter of doing bench presses and eating enough food to sustain performance and growth. I really wouldn't overcomplicate it a whole lot. I bench 2 times a week minimum. Throw in some arm, tricep, and upper back accessory work to supplement. But the vast majority of the work would be bench focused, and then eating to facilitate growth and performance. So there wouldn't be some elaborate program there, to be honest. What is more functional, quote unquote, for elderly people, squat or deadlift? So, for elderly people, and I'm not an expert in this field here, but I understand that just simply getting up off the floor after falling down is a big issue with them. And I want to say squats because I feel like a squat would be more conducive to uh, the ability to get up if you fell down than, bending over and picking something up. I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer either. Probably both in some capacity, and it's going to depend on the elderly person, and you're going to have to modify the squat like a goblet squat or body weight squats, or we're not talking about like chasing PR 500-pound squats or anything like that. But that said, I think I am going to go with squats just for the amount of mobility that's involved there and abilities that come from squatting. Again, I don't necessarily, I don't feel like super duper confident that like that's absolutely going to be the right answer. But I'd like to hear from y'all in the comment section. So I'll probably pin a comment about this, and it'll be in the timestamps, of course. But what do y'all think? What do you guys, your grandma needs help with her training, and let's say for shits and giggles, like she's never trained or been an athlete or lifted weights or anything. What do you guys got Nana doing? And is she baking you a cheesecake after y'all get done with training or not? Peace!